turn the sound up a little bit. There we go. Hello, Claire. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Fantastic bank holiday Monday here today, so we're in glorious sunshine.
I think it's about as hot there as what it is here. What we're on 37. I think I win
Oh,
a
well, we're
little
not
bit.
quite at 37. But we know
37.
The British heat hits harder, doesn't it? So
It's different. It's a different
it is
kind of heat
hot.
over there. Like sweaty slug weather. So I want to talk to you today a little bit more about your journey, how you felt before you started with us, how you feel now. Obviously, how long have you been with us for now? Is it six, eight months?
9 months, 9 months.
Yeah. And how you feeling now? So I guess my first question to you was, how did you feel before joining GS Coaching? What was the turning point that made you want to make a change?
So I think I was getting really frustrated with myself, and I'd sort of put myself into, I was just becoming a bit of an old lady bracket. I'd, done that kind of late 40s thing. I'd suddenly stacked on loads of weight. I thought I was being healthy, but I suddenly felt like I was a sausage that had been just overstuffed, and I just felt really uncomfortable with myself. And yeah, I did have that shit maxi dress that you absolutely rip the makeup off. And I kind of I had I've got a really intense desk-based job, and I could just feel myself. It was a bit like I was there, those big bouncy slides that you can climb up, the inflatable slides. And I felt
Mm,
like I was up at the top of an inflatable slide, and I was about to slip down that slide, and I was just never going to get back up again. And I was
yeah.
just going to be in a kind of sunken dip. And I was really scared of how that was making me feel. And yeah, just a lot of loss of confidence as well with that as well. And I just thought, God, Claire, you just need to get this in hand. And I started looking on Instagram and looking at all these influencers, and obviously came across yourself, hit follow. And there was something
And
about
then
you.
you've been stuck with me ever since.
I don't know, I mean, again, I've said this to you before, G, but you're so not the sort of person that I would talk to normally. Normally, I'd be like really intimidated by somebody that looked like kind of phenomenal, and the long blonde hair, and kind of like, I would be like, oh God, I'm just a small brown haired, sort of small person. And I just, and I would have not have approached you normally, but you just bounced straight into my DMs. And there was something about the cut of your jib. I just liked you straight away. I liked you directness. I absolutely like the fact that you own me. And the videos that you do, I just feel that you kind of really speak to me. And so as soon as you was like, hi, what are you thinking of? What's your goals? And then you said, would you like to have a call? I probably, even before that call, I'd thought, I think I'm going to end up having a personal training relationship with this person. There's just something about her. So yeah,
Yeah.
I was really, really, really glad that I did. And I was really surprised at how quickly it started to make a difference.
Mm. And what were if you had any, what were kind of any reservations or fears that you had about taking the step of joining the coaching program?
I kind of had always perceived people that really invest a lot in their health and well-being and fitness and their diet and really go to the gym as some people who are like a little bit selfish. And
Hmm.
I thought, oh, as again, a working mum, friend, and all of that, I would put everybody's needs above my own. And so I think I was having a bit of a reservation, thinking that I would be more of a selfish person if I started to prioritize more into my health and well-being. And I was a little bit nervous about family meals and needing family meals to, because we eat as a family and shop as a family. So I was a bit nervous about actually saying, no, this is what I need. But it's actually been, yeah, it's been okay for that. Not as hard as I
How
thought.
have you found with like navigating with social lives and things like that? Have you found any of that to become more difficult, challenging?
Well, obviously you get your meal off a week, which is always really nice. So I'd kind of tried to make sure that was so where I was socializing or whatever. But actually, it's not that big a deal to get a really lovely bottle of sparkling water instead of a gin and tonic at a meal, and just making those choices. So it's not been as hard as I thought it would be. And just making better choices. But then, as I say, like not to the extent that if I wanted to go out and have a meal and whatever, and do you know what? So what if it was 2 meals out a week or whatever. I would just go and enjoy myself. What's really changed for me in my diet is the way I eat breakfast. I could see that before joining with you, and I could see that had I not come with you and then stuck with you, importantly, after that 6 months, I could see what I was doing is basically I was carb bouncing all day long. So I'd start with tea and toast and marmalade and, cereal and all that. And that would be the first of my sugar hits across the day. And I'd just go from sugar hit to sugar hit all through the day, right into the chocolate at 4 o'clock, and then bouncing into a glass of wine come 6 o'clock. And actually, what I realized with you and the way that I changed what I was eating was that actually, if I start my day with like that more protein base, lots of fresh fruit and veg, and that wasn't the sugar hits weren't the issue over the day. I was nervous that I would have a bit of a sugar withdrawal, but I didn't at all, and I was really surprised at that.
Mm.
That was
How did you
really
find
good.
as well? Because I remember actually when we first spoke that one of the things that you wanted to do was reduce down your alcohol consumption a little bit, which I know obviously you've done.
Yeah.
How do you feel that that's had an impact on your life and how that you feel?
So tying it back to being selfish, actually, not having a drink means that I'm less selfish. I've got more
Mm.
energy in the morning. I'm enjoying myself more at night, and feel fresh-headed the next day. So getting up and getting out, walking the dog, doing the chores and everything, not a problem. So prioritizing my health and deprioritizing alcohol actually meant that I've still been able to be an amazing mum and wife and friend, um, without thinking, oh, I really, really want that glass of wine. Like I say, I really recognised it as a bit of a sugar hit as well as a what I thought was a de-stress.
100%. Now I know that you've been waiting for this question. What have you tried previously before coming to
So this
us?
is kind of the main reason why I wanted to come on this, because I need women my age to know that following the Zoe plan made me fat. 100%. So what I was doing was I was eating lots of fruit and veg over the course of the day, and then I was eating natural. And my husband he was the one who really wanted us to do Zoe. So he was like, "Yeah, I'll just get a handful of nuts." I was getting a handful of nuts, but I'm a really small person, and my handful of nuts were probably like half my calorie intake for the day. So yeah, I'll have an avocado, and I'll have this, and I'll have that, and have a big bowl of whatever. And actually, that was what really made me put on weight really, really quickly. And actually, also doing that plan did not cure my sugar cravings. So I was doing the Zoe plan, and I was saying, "Oh, just make sure you whack a really big bar of chocolate in the shopping when we were ordering it online. Make sure you buy," and then I'd be like eating chocolate all night, thinking, "Oh yeah, well, it'd be okay."
Yeah.
And that, as I say, it worked out really well for my husband, but I just think for a woman of my age, my body composition, it just wasn't what I needed at the time. And I did that
Mm.
kind of, I just didn't look good. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel energized. And so I remember actually, and we did keep loads of elements of the Zoe plan, and that's absolutely fantastic. One of the things you did for me actually when we first started, and you were putting my meal plan together, was I'd had my supermarket delivery and I had it all out on the counter. And I went round with my phone and I videoed it. And you
Yeah.
looked really careful at that, because then when you built my plan, you kept as much of that stuff that I was just buying week to week as you possibly could. And so you built my plan on what already looked like my family's diet and just made those tweaks.
And how do you find now with your cravings and stuff? Have you noticed they're a lot better than they were?
If, as I say, if I really make sure that I follow my breakfast and lunch plan, the rest of the day goes really well. So it's
Yeah.
just about having, and again, it's just about, well, I'll just make a good choice at this meal, and I'll make a good choice at the next meal, and then the rest of the day falls smooth, goes more smoothly. I won't deny that there's sometimes when I'm, again, big corporate life, you go to an event or whatever, and there'll just be those,
All the
we call them
pastries.
sad
They all have the
sandwiches,
pastries,
didn't
don't
we?
they?
Those triangle sandwiches, and my heart just sinks, and then I end up eating the sad sandwiches, and then it's just not such a good for the rest of the day. It's more of a struggle. So as I say, is making those early choices early in the day really helps. But the other thing that really helped me with is the steps. So it's not just a
Yeah,
kind of diet. And again, I think I really had neglected the steps, and I was doing spin classes and all of that sort of stuff before I joined you. Knocked spin classes on the head altogether. So they're just not something I want to do now. But I
yeah.
just make sure that I get out and do the steps, and that the weeks when I do really well on steps, I'm like, that is when the change happens really quickly. I think I texted you one week and I said, when I do as you tell me, and I do as instructed, change happens really, really fast. And it's just putting your trust in yourself and the process. But again, with the steps, I just set myself, like back in January, I set myself a little challenge. I was like, just do 3,000 steps every morning before 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I got a bit easier. I was like, oh, I can do 4,000 steps before 9 o'clock. And now I'm pushing and I'm going, I think I can do 5,000 steps before 9 o'clock. So I feel like I'm starting the day winning every day because I have the right breakfast and I get my steps underway. And then the rest of the day kind of follows from there.
Yeah, it's almost like I feel like if you get when people say you win the morning, you win the day, I think it really does make a difference, doesn't it? You feel like you've got a head start, and then you're not going through the day thinking, "Oh shit, I've still got to do all of my steps," and now
Yeah,
my
yeah,
sugar
yeah.
cravings have gone through the roof. And I definitely think I feel it, even for me, if I have a good routine in the morning, steps, coffee, cardio is our routine, then the rest of the day I'm on to a winner. It makes a massive, massive
And
difference.
your social media posts always, sometimes when I just need to give my head a bit of a wobble, there you are with that really perceptive social media post and checking in with you and just seeing what you're up to. Seeing Sam lifting some really heavy stuff is always really inspiring as well.
Yeah.
And, for myself, I really value the connection with Simon as well in terms of, the way that he equates those uncompromising ambitions in his professional life with how he's uncompromising about his training and his fitness and just kind of marrying that all together. So it's kind of good, to have you guys to just check in with. And I know, I what you probably see, I like watch quite a lot of your videos, but it's just that little check-in that keeps me kind of on the straight and narrow.
And how do you feel now compared to when you started with us?
I just it's funny. It's like I said I put on some shorts this week because it got really hot, and I was like, oh my God, my legs look completely different. So sometimes you think, oh, I've not made any changes, and then you think, oh, back in that dress that was gaping at the chest before or whatever. So I feel really, really good. And again, as I say, now it's coming round to that to the full year, and I'm putting on clothes now that I was wearing last year, and they're just really comfortable and they just look better. I feel so much better in myself. I do feel stronger, more energetic. Um,
Mhm.
Again, just little things like when I get off a chair now, I really feel my own body powering myself rather than momentum. And one of my goals, as I've sort of talked to you about, is really making sure that I have that lifelong commitment now. So as I get into my 50s and eventually 60s and 70s, I'm just going to feel really strong in my own body. And that's for me what's going to keep me as a lifelong thing. I keep thinking, what would this have looked like if I'd not done this with Georgia? And how many times I probably would have kicked it all in. But just as I say, it's just that progress doesn't always go like that. It sort of sometimes goes like that, but it is going in the right direction. And just every time I have a little dip, you're just there with the right encouragement or social media post or a right check-in. Or we've have a call like this occasionally, don't we? So
And I know, obviously, like you said earlier as well, which I actually didn't know until you said that on the earlier before this, was you are weighing now the lightest that you've weighed
in
since
my
having,
entire adult life, yeah.
yeah, which is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, as I say, I just, when I got to the one particular weight, I was really shocked and I couldn't believe that that had happened and that
Yeah.
it happened without me actually starving myself as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think for you as well, and much like a lot of the ladies that I work with, it's about how your clothes fit as well, isn't it? And I know that you've sent me like videos and pictures and stuff before where you was it your jeans that you sent me that
Yeah,
time where
but my
they were
arms
just like
like my
huge.
jeans.
I'm getting so many of that at the minute where George, you ruined my life. I bought these jeans and they don't fit me anymore. I'm like, well, sorry. But how do you feel as well? Do you have you noticed any difference in how you now feel in yourself and the confidence in what you wear?
So I do
Have
quite
you
a bit of
noticed
cutting.
the difference in how you that has transpired into your professional life as
Yeah,
well?
definitely. So I do quite a bit of professional speaking and standing up in front of a room and talking to people, and I can just stand there now without kind of crossing my arms over my front. I can be really confident, and that really helps then, that confident body language helps then in terms of how I'm trying to speak. So I think the big difference I felt, so I started with you in the August, I think. Like
Hmm.
literally, I think I was just about to go on a holiday when I signed up for you, and I was like, this is absolutely the worst timing ever because I'm just about to go away for a long weekend. But like you said, why are you waiting? Why start next week? Why not just start now? And so I did, and I still had a great weekend. I just, it was just finding better things to choose to eat for the weekend. And then I think I went to a leadership conference with my firm. I think that was in the November, and there was like a dinner and a disco, and I just was in the disco and I was dancing. I felt like, oh my God, I've got somebody else's body now. This feels totally different to how it would have felt, and that
Yeah,
was a really amazing feeling and spurred me on a bit more.
that's amazing. And what do you feel throughout the coaching process so far? What would you be able to highlight that's probably been the most valuable thing for you, or the thing that you've learned the most since starting with us?
So not to feel any shame. I remember, I think and bring you everything. So I think I had a little niggle in one of my ankles.
Hmm.
And I kind of didn't mention it to you for about 2 weeks because I just felt like I was being that pain in the bum sort of person. I've got this hurting, that's hurting. And eventually it was like, oh, I really need to tell her now. And you're like, not a problem. We just need to switch around some of your exercises in the gym. You just need to warm up your ankle a bit more and I'm just going to swap it over. And I was really surprised. And that's what I've learned is actually, not to hide my problems away from you, but actually to
Mm.
bring you them because then that gives you the information, the data that you need in order to drive it. I remember you in your own journey, you talked about how you would check in and lie about your weight or something. And I'm just like, no, you
Yeah.
just have to be absolutely yourself. So yeah, bringing you the truth has been really good, and that it's okay and it's safe to do that and you won't tell me off.
No, I will never tell anybody off. There's certain times when people need a little bit of a rocket up their bum, but it's knowing when that's needed. And because a lot of the time with things like what with you, it's there's a solution to it. And it's not that you've done anything wrong, it's just that you've got a niggle. There's things, and a lot of the time with coaching as well, even if it's something that's nothing to do with an injury, it can be someone struggling to adhere to a nutrition plan. It's never that there's something wrong with the individual. It's, well, that's not working for you for whatever reason, so we need to change it.
Mm.
So that's really good that you've said that. And how quickly would you say, when you started working with us, how quickly was it that you started to notice and feel a difference?
So I would say, oh, after 4 weeks, really, I started to feel the difference in my energy. And like I say, it was really quick that I knocked sugar on the head. So I'd
Mm.
always had a sugar in a coffee, and you were like, I know it's like I'm gonna have to stop the sugar in the coffee. And that was much easier than I thought it was going to be. Knocking the wagon wheel off at 4 o'clock, that was much easier. So it was really nice to feel free of all of that sort of stuff, like within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was really quick. And then I'd say after 6 weeks, then enjoy getting into the gym and enjoying the gym. But from, after the 3 month mark, I think that was when I'd had my first little dip and I'd sort of got out of the dip. And that was like, oh, I really value the coaching relationship at this point because I could see that I would have got to that point before and it would have just kind of fallen off a cliff. Whereas actually you helped me to sort of carry on.
And how do you feel in regards to now you feel better in yourself? Have you noticed a difference in the things that you choose to wear and how you feel comfortable in social situations?
Yeah, so just feeling a bit more happier and a bit more outgoing in those situations. Did put the floral maxi dress in the bin, got a holiday coming up later in the summer. I'm really looking forward to, I think there's some photographs of I went on holiday with some friends and I was stood behind my friend, like trying to hide my stomach behind my friend. I don't think I'd be doing that this summertime coming around. I'm just going to be having a really great time.
That's amazing. And finally, would you recommend GS coaching to friends and family, and if so, why?
Yeah, and as I say, I'm actively recommending you, and this is kind of why I wanted to do the testimonial, because it's really easy, isn't it, to see somebody that looks as glamorous as you saying why you should do a program, but here I am, just a really ordinary person, saying that it's been really transformational. I felt really supported, and there's no good you spending loads of money on beauty treatments or clothes or whatever, because actually fundamentally, I think you talked about the foundations of the house, and that
Mm,
if don't fix the foundations of the house, then the rest of it is just not sustainable. So,
yeah.
work on your strength, your muscles, that nutrition, crack that sugar habit is all quite achievable. And, GS coaching kind of makes it really achievable. I was really pleased that one of my best friends has joined the scheme already. So, and she's working with Sam. So we compare, interesting ways with eggs.
That's
And
hilarious.
yeah.
I have a few other ladies on the team that I don't think you've met those yet. Kate and Sarah. They're both Leicester based, and every Friday they go for a walk. I work with both of them, and every Friday they go for a walk, and I'm like, oh, my ears are burning. Like, what are they bitching about me now saying? They're like, we've just come back from our walk, and we've decided that this, and this. I'm like, okay. Oh gosh. No, that's been absolutely amazing. I really appreciate you doing that, Claire.
My pleasure.
We will also, I'll turn the recording off. I'm not sure. Oh, it might be. When are you back from holiday?
24th of July.
Oh, you might miss it then. I'm not sure on the actual date yet because I'm just waiting